Hello and welcome to Paladin's Impressions, where I take a look at games I just don't have the time to review right now. Today we're taking a look at Infested Planet. I've actually been sitting on Infested Planet for a while now. I keep coming into it again, poking around, seeing if I find anything that resonates, and then leave. Been doing this off and on for like a year now. So I finally decided, okay, let's just sit down with it and actually try and figure out what this game is about and whether I actually like it or not. In the past week or so, I've actually found I kind of enjoy it. It's still kind of weird because is this an RTS or is this a tower defense? The genre is really hard to nail down, and I'm still not sure if I like it. I'm still kind of battling with whether this is good or still kind of okay. Even now as I sit and record this, I'm still like, do I actually like this, or is it something new and shiny, and once I kind of figure out the whole idea of it, it'll just all fall apart on me. Right now, I don't know. I guess that's a good first impression, right? I still don't know if I like this game. So, let's explain what this game is. Infested Planet came out, I want to say 2 years ago. I should probably have checked that before, recording this video. Professionalism and all that. And you basically lead a command of 5 or more troops against unending alien hordes. Your basic objective every level is to take out these hives that they come out of, while protecting assets that you have strewn around the map. Your 5 Marines are basically one role that you can assign them to. The default role being riflemen who have decent enough range, decent enough damage, and just kind of hit the center of everything as far as, like, balance. You've also got officers that buff your guys, you've got flame thrower guys who do a ton of damage to enemies and buildings but require to be up close and personal. You got snipers that take out buildings, there's all sorts of variety of different roles that you have. And then, to add even more complexity to it, you have 2 different basic ammo/upgrade types. You have, 2 different resources. Why did I even say that before? You have BP, which you can use to build upgrades, build turrets, build defenses to protect your assets, as well as upgrade your troops to different roles. Then you've got ammo, which you can use for upgrades and using different weapons. These all kind of come together to give a bit of complexity to your choices and make you decide, okay, what's the most important for this battleground. On the flip side, you're fighting against an unending alien horde that not only is unending, but is also slightly intelligent, or at the very least will constantly probe out your defenses. And this is even after you take over some defenses. Like, as you've probably seen in the background, I've taken 4 different points now. And I'm now struggling to kind of protect several different fronts from these unending armies. Because they're like, well, let me probe here, see if you've got any decent defenses. Oh, you don't? Well, I'm about to take out your bases. So I'm forced to retreat because my assets are being split up. And as you probably noticed to the right of the screen, there are several different icons. Those are upgrades that the AI is able to get throughout the match, and this generally happens every time you take a hive point. These upgrades will affect how the aliens react to you, and affect what units will spawn to sort of counteract what you've been doing. And this can be a rather abrupt change. Some of the more notable examples I've noticed is when you take a point, there will be a counterattack, a very fierce counterattack that may overwhelm you. So what you'll need to do is pull back long enough before that counterattack ends. There are also ones that will basically spawn very tanky aliens that are hard to kill, so it will require you to build more defenses in order to deal with them. So there's definitely a lot of things that can happen, and the mutations that can happen in this game can really affect how you push ahead. It doesn't make it a very, very predictable foe to face against. I'm going to hesitate to say that there is an AI. The alien horde doesn't exactly speak to me as though it doesn't come off as having a real intelligence to probe your defenses. It's just scripted very smartly that it seems intelligent. It will always, as I said, go for different targets and probe your defenses. That doesn't necessarily make it a very advanced AI, and mutations don't necessarily make it advanced either. It just feels advanced more than actually being so. There's the base content, which is basically a campaign where you're trying to defeat this horde of aliens on this planet, and you're constantly fighting them with this group of Marines. The recently released DLC or expansion, I should say, added a whole new campaign that apparently changes up quite a bit. I don't have access to that DLC right now. I just have access to the base game, which you can see here. Maybe I'll cover the expansion at another time. I just don't have the time or the capability to do so. And the money, actually, to be honest. That's just how it goes sometimes. So, okay. I've explained kind of how your forces work and how the alien forces work. You're probably slightly curious what's going on in the bottom left of the screen. These are your 4 different menus on upgrades, essentially, or building stuff. The top is simply abilities. You use ammo, you can drop troops, you can stasis ward enemies, you can throw out a giant cluster bomb, do all sorts of things to really mess the aliens up. The sort of the middle one, the sort of spade and hammer, I think is what that is, are your basic buildings that you can create. Turrets. Mostly turrets, actually, now that I think about it. These change from mortar turrets that can do a lot of damage to buildings to just normal turrets that do damage versus aliens, and there's all sorts of things going on. They're pretty good to have, I'm not gonna lie. The one that's kind of in the middle of that, with all the 3 sort of marine peoples, those allow you to change the classes of your guys from the various different ones that I mentioned earlier, and then you have the building upgrades below that let you create. Basically, these buildings need to be protected, but they give you very significant upgrades, from dropping reinforcement troops right by your guys to letting you call in helicopter strikes to help, do a lot of suppression damage and clear things up. So there's a lot of different depth to this game, and you've got to make smart choices, especially the later on the game goes. Otherwise, you'll get overwhelmed, as you might have already seen me get overwhelmed. So what are kind of my thoughts on this game? There's certainly a decent amount of content. The story is... it's not that great. It's just, invading enemy horde is coming, and you're supposed to fight it, and there's a general who's kind of lost his marbles a little bit. no one really stands out. There isn't really much of a story here. Don't go into it for that. You're just going to be disappointed, to be honest. What else? I think there's a decent amount of content from what I can see so far for the asking price, and there's certainly weekly challenges as well that can give you a reason to keep on playing. Do I like the gameplay? Right now I do, but I'm not sure how long it's going to last. I mean, as I said, I enjoy it because it's kind of RTS-y, kind of tower defense-y, kind of action-oriented. It's pretty good. Just, I don't know, I have this nagging feeling that I'm missing something or not paying attention to something. Let's go with paranoia on this. It's just the fact that I quit playing this game multiple times in the past despite trying to get into them, and now I am, but I don't know, I'm not loving this as much as I feel like I should be. Oh, and one other thing I forgot. After you complete each mission, you get credits, which you can use to buy upgrades. And the upgrade system is actually pretty good and pretty significant. These upgrades will drastically affect your performance in the game. So kudos to them on that. It didn't feel like I was just buying a bunch of random stuff for no reason. It's like, no, these have a purpose, and these give you a different sort of playstyle, if you wish. Sorry, went off tangent there. I just don't know. Do I really like this game? Am I just kind of waffling because I'm paranoid? I don't know. Right now, this is kind of what I feel like. It's very good at what it does, but I just feel like I'm gonna find some surprise, and then, this game isn't as good as I thought it was. And I think if I have any problem right now, it's just that the enemy is a little too predictable. I mean, your basic goal is always the same: capture all the enemy points. So you set up turrets and defenses and make sure you have enough guys to kind of cover all your bases, and then you charge in and destroy points all the time. And certainly the game will try and adapt to make it harder and more challenging, but it's still kind of the same basic gameplay time and time again. The story does provide different sort of like escort missions to change things up and sort of force you to play in different ways. So I'll give the story missions that, but a lot of the optional side missions are basically the same. Come here, destroy everything, and just, you know, go from there. So, does that make it a bad game? I don't know. As I said, I'm mixed on this game. Right now I'm enjoying it, but I just kind of remember the times where I wasn't really into it. And I'm wondering how long it is before I kind of remember it again, that I don't actually like this game as much. That's kind of cynical, to be honest, but that's just kind of where I'm at right now with this game. So, that's kind of my thoughts on Infested Planet right now as it stands. I can't really think of anything that I'm desperately missing, so I'll give it that. The music's pretty good, the assets are very good. I'll give them that. The production assets on this are very good. Despite how chaotic this game could really be, you can tell from like a glance, from a distance, okay, this is what units are there, this is what's coming for me. You know, I should build this up. There's not a lot of confusing UI or confusing enemy design to really muddy the waters. So kudos to them on that. And that's it for my thoughts on Infested Planet. If you have any thoughts about this series, please leave a comment down below. Definitely appreciated it. Yeah, definitely appreciate it. And until next time, I've been KingIsaacLinksr, taking a first look at Infested Planet. And I'll talk to you again later.
Airdrop on its way.